This is the animatronic that's been warning us about Five Nights at Freddy's darkest secrets since 2017, and we didn't listen. Candy Cadet told us exactly what would happen through 4 cryptic stories, and every single one came true. Think about this for a second. In a franchise filled with jump scares, murderous robots, and supernatural possession, Scott Cawthon created one animatronic whose only purpose was to tell stories. Not attack you, not stuff you in a suit, just dispense candy and occasionally share tales about 5 things becoming one. That should have been our first red flag. When Candy Cadet appeared in Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator on December 4th, 2017, most players wrote him off as a quirky addition. $310 for a candy dispensing robot with 0 liability risk and an entertainment value of 1 seemed like a waste of money. But here's what makes my skin crawl. Those weren't just stories, they were prophecies. Hey guys, Horror Lorekeeper here. Let me break down what Candy Cadet actually is before we get into the nightmare fuel. This skeletal animatronic with a candy dispenser built into its chest only had about a 10% chance of telling you a story instead of giving you candy. And once you heard a story, that was it. You'd never hear that specific tale again in that playthrough. 3 stories total, each one more disturbing than the last. The first story tells us about a boy with a hungry red snake and 5 kittens. He can't choose which kitten to sacrifice, so he leaves the cage open. The snake eats them all, 1 per night. The boy, filled with regret, cuts open the snake and tries to put the kitten back together in a shoebox. The second story? A woman trapped in a room with 5 keys and 5 doors. Behind each door is a child she could save, but she can only take 1 key, so she melts all 5 keys together in a furnace, hoping to save them all. The amalgamated key opens none of the doors. By trying to save 5, she doomed them all. The third tale describes a kind man who visits 5 orphans. Fearing for their safety living alone, he adopts all 5, but together they're miserable and isolated. He returns them to their original homes, but now he's broken them up and spread them out where they can never be together again. Notice the pattern? 5 separate things, an attempt to combine or save them all, an ultimate failure that makes everything worse. In the FNAF universe, what else comes in groups of 5? The missing children: Gabriel, Jeremy, Susie, Fritz, and Cassidy, the original 5 victims of William Afton. But here's where it gets bone-chilling. These stories weren't describing what already happened. They were telling us what was going to happen in the FNAF timeline, every single time. The snake story? That's Ennard. Think about it. A red snake, circus baby with her red pigtails, keeping the others trapped inside. Elizabeth Afton, desperate to escape, leads the Funtime animatronics to literally scoop out Michael's insides and wear him like a skin suit. They're trying to become one to escape, just like the boy trying to piece the kitten back together. But what happens? They reject each other, split apart, and baby gets kicked out of Ennard, leaving the amalgamation we know as Molten Freddy. The woman with 5 keys? That's Henry Emily in Pizzeria Simulator. He gathered all the animatronics, Molten Freddy containing the original souls, Scrap Baby, William and Springtrap, and the puppet with Charlie into one location. His plan was to burn them all together, to finally give them peace. But did it work? Did melting them all together in one fire actually free their souls? According to Ultimate Custom Night and everything that came after, absolutely not. The fire just transformed them into something else, something worse. By trying to save them all at once, Henry might have doomed them to a different kind of suffering. And that third story about the orphans? Look at what happened to the glam rock animatronics in Security Breach. Freddy, Chica, Roxy, Monty, and arguably Bonnie before his decommission. 5 animatronics who were functioning separately, brought together under one roof, one system. But the glitch trap virus, the digital ghost of William Afton, corrupted them. They became aggressive, isolated from their original personalities, broken up and spread throughout the Pizzaplex where they could never truly work together again. But wait, Candy Cadet wasn't done warning us. 6 years of silence, 6 years of fans dissecting those 3 stories, and then in July 2023, the Ruin DLC drops. And guess who's waiting for us in the abandoned Pizzaplex? Our prophetic friend with one more tale to tell. This time, the story hits different. A mother keeps a monster locked in her basement. She tells her son it can never escape, sings him lullabies to keep him calm. But when the mother disappears and the boy gets hungry, he goes to the basement thinking maybe the monster is hungry too. Maybe it could help. The moment he unlocks that door, the monster devours him. This wasn't about the past anymore. This was Candy Cadet screaming at us about the mimic. Think about the parallels. The monster in the basement? That's the mimic, literally trapped in the sinkhole beneath the Pizzaplex. The mother who disappears? That's Vanessa, our security guard who kept things contained until she vanished. And the hungry child who unlocks the door? That's Cassie, desperate to save her friend Gregory, going deeper and deeper into the ruins until she finally unlocks the one thing that should have stayed buried. But here's what keeps me up at night. If Candy Cadet's first 3 stories predicted Ennard, the Pizzeria Simulator fire, and the glam rock rock corruption, and his fourth story predicted the Mimic's release, what is he actually trying to tell us? I think the answer has been staring us in the face this whole time. It's not just about the number 5, it's about the fundamental horror of trying to fix something unfixable. Every story follows the same devastating formula. Someone identifies a problem: hungry snake, trapped children, vulnerable orphans, scary monster. They try to solve it with what seems like logic. Piece things together, melt keys into one, gather everyone safely. Maybe the monster is just misunderstood, but their solution doesn't account for the true nature of what they're dealing with. You can't undo death by piecing remains together. You can't save everyone by forcing unity. You can't protect by isolation, and you absolutely cannot tame what was born to consume. This is the core of FNAF's horror. Every attempt to fix the tragedy creates a new tragedy. William killed kids to achieve immortality, but became a rotting corpse in a rabbit suit. Henry tried to end it all with fire, but potentially created digital consciousnesses. Fazbear Entertainment tried to cover up the past, but keeps resurrecting it in new forms. Candy Cadet knew this. That's why he's different from every other animatronic. He's not trying to kill you. He's trying to warn you. But like everyone else in this franchise, we didn't listen. We bought him for entertainment value, hoping for candy, and ignored the prophecies. Let me paint you a picture of how deep this goes. In the game files, Candy Cadet is classified as a classic animatronic, despite being a newer addition to the roster. Why? Because he represents something timeless in the FNAF universe, the role of the prophet nobody heeds. Like Cassandra from Greek mythology, doomed to speak truth that no one believes until it's too late. The 10% chance of getting a story instead of candy? That's not random. That's Scott Cawthon telling us that only 1 in 10 people will actually hear the warning. The rest just want the sweet reward, the surface level experience. They'll take their candy and move on, never knowing they just missed a crucial piece of the puzzle. And the fact that you can only hear each story once per playthrough, that's because prophecies don't repeat themselves. You get one chance to understand, one opportunity to change course. Miss it, and you're doomed to watch it unfold exactly as foretold. But here's the kicker. Even if you heard all 3 stories in Pizzeria Simulator, could you have prevented what came next? Could anyone have stopped Ennard's formation, prevented the fire, or kept the Glamrocks from corruption? That's the true horror Candy Cadet represents. Not just that bad things will happen, but that knowing about them changes nothing. Look at MatPat, Dawko, and every other FNAF theorist who analyzed these stories to death. We all saw the patterns, made the connections, predicted outcomes based on Candy Cadet's tales. But the games kept coming, the story kept unfolding, and every prophecy came to pass regardless of our understanding. This brings us to the million-dollar question. If Candy Cadet's stories have all come true so far, what's next?
The pattern is clear. 5 things that should stay separate. An attempt to unite or fix them. Catastrophic failure that makes everything worse. We've seen it with souls, with animatronics, with locations. What's the next group of 5 that someone's going to try to fix? I have a theory, and it's going to sound insane, but stick with me. What if Candy Cadet isn't just telling us about events in the games? What if he's warning us about the franchise itself? Think about it. Five Nights at Freddy's started as one simple game. Then 2, 3, 4, and sister location made 5 main entries. What happened next? They tried to unite everything. All the lore, all the timelines, all the scattered pieces into one cohesive story with Pizzeria Simulator. And what was the result? The story became so complex, so amalgamated that it opened the door for even more confusion. Ultimate Custom Night, Help Wanted, Security Breach. Each game trying to piece together what came before while adding new layers of complexity. Just like the boy cutting open the snake. Just like the woman melting the keys. Just like the man gathering the orphans. The attempt to unify everything has only spread the story further apart, making it impossible to contain. And now, with the movie universe starting its own timeline, the books telling their versions, and the games continuing to expand, we're seeing Candy Cadet's ultimate prophecy unfold on a meta level. 5 different continuities. Games, books, movies, fanverse, and whatever comes next, all trying to tell the same story differently. What happens when someone inevitably tries to merge them all into one definitive timeline? Candy Cadet already told us, it won't work, it never works. The keys won't open any doors, the snake can't be satisfied, the orphans will remain isolated, and the monster is always hungry. But here's the darkest part of all this. Remember how Candy Cadet returned in the Ruined DLC after 6 years of silence? He only appears when something catastrophic is about to happen. His first appearance preceded the amalgamation events, the fire, and the corruption. His second appearance warned of the Mimic's release. So ask yourself, if Candy Cadet appears again, what fresh hell is he trying to warn us about? What group of 5 is someone about to catastrophically unite? What monster is waiting in what basement? What mother has already disappeared, leaving us hungry and desperate enough to unlock doors that should stay sealed? The truly terrifying part is that we'll probably do exactly what every character in his stories did. We'll see the warning, understand the danger, and still make the same mistake. Because that's human nature. That's the real horror Candy Cadet represents. Not the monsters, not the murders, not the machines, but our own inability to leave well enough alone. We always try to fix things. We always try to save everyone. We always think we're different, smarter, that we can succeed where others failed. And Candy Cadet, in his monotone, robotic voice, keeps telling us the same truth over and over. No, you can't. You'll only make it worse. So the next time you boot up a FNAF game and see that skeletal figure with a candy dispenser in his chest, remember, he's not your enemy. He's the only animatronic in the entire franchise trying to help you. The only one who tells you the truth. The only one who warns you what's coming. But just like everyone else in these stories, you probably won't listen. You'll take your candy, miss the message, and wonder why everything keeps getting worse. Because that's what Candy Cadet was trying to tell us this whole time. The real horror isn't in the basement, behind the doors, or inside the cages. The real horror is that we're the boy, the woman, and the man in every story. We're the ones who open the cages, melt the keys, and unlock the basements. And no amount of warning will ever stop us from doing it again. Candy Cadet knew this from the beginning. That's why he doesn't jump scare you. He doesn't need to. He knows the scariest thing of all is the truth. And the truth is that we've heard his warnings, understood his prophecies, and we're still gonna make the same mistakes every single time. That's what Candy Cadet was trying to tell us this whole time. And now that you know, what are you gonna do about it? Probably the same thing everyone else did. Take your candy and pretend you never heard the story. After all, it's just a game, right?